I don't even hide my hatred for men anymore. See, back in the day, I used to know that I had this feeling inside of me, but I didn't know how to express it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to say anything that would get me canceled or get me having people being mad at me, or because I kind of know that like hatred for anybody is not good for your soul. So I always try to cover it up and call it other things or like excusing and stuff like that. But baby, I ain't doing that no more. When I meet a guy, I tell him straight up from the jump, I do not like guys. But more specifically, I hate guys. I am a misandrist, and I stand 10 toes down on it, and I say it with my chest now. Like I said, I didn't always say it with my chest because I was a little bit too scared. But it then got to the point where it's just like, no, I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared of being canceled. I'm not scared of people being mad at me. I'm not scared of the men being in my comments. I don't care. But I do want to get one thing straight. My hatred for men is not the same type of hatred that like races have, like the way that a white person would feel about a black person. Like if you just see a black person out just in public minding their own business, and you just see a black person and you're like, ugh, like your face is turning red, your face is scrunching up because you just hate those black people, you know. I don't feel that way. I don't see a man like out in the wild and be like, oh, he's a man. You know, I don't feel like that. I do feel like that when the man tries to insert himself in my life or in my space in any type of way. That's when I get that, nigga, you know, that's when I get that rage feeling. But no, I don't just like see men out in the wild, be like, oh my God, I hate y'all so much. You know what I mean? My brain don't operate like that. But let you try to talk to me, let you try to, you know, whether it's online, in person, or whatever. If you try to talk to me, then that's when my anger fuels, you know. But outside of that, yeah, like I said, I used to be so scared to just talk about it or whatever, but I'm not no more, baby. It's like, we need to keep it real. And I think if all people just said, stood 10 toes down on whatever it is, whatever they are, whether you racist, misogynist, misandrist, homophobic, whatever you are, I think we need to start saying straight up what we are and the things that we don't like, to give people the opportunity. Like I'm telling you, like, sir, I don't like men. I'm a misandrist. You might want to get away from me. If I was somebody told me, if somebody was like, look, I don't like big girls, get away from me, I can't stand you fat, I'd be like, oh, well, I'll stay away from you, you know. Or if a racist person was like, yeah, I don't like you N-words, get away from here, I'll be like, thank you for letting me know. And I just feel like if everybody just said it with their chest and stop being so damn scary, then we could get further. We could get further if we stop being afraid to say what we really are. And it's just like, yeah.
In case you forgot that men are awful, I posted a video about what the girlies are going to do if we ever hit an apocalyptic situation and like life's never going back to normal. And there are currently almost 7,000 comments of women saying that they would themselves rather than deal with the men out in the world because they know that they would be abused, used, and discarded. Not to mention all the girlies in the comments saying that they would make sure their body was burned, disposed of, like mangled beyond recognition, because even death will not stop men from using our bodies against our will. I know this is grim, but also the girlies are hysterical. And if you would like some funny, girly, dark humor, I highly encourage you to go look at that video on my page. I am just having so much fun scrolling through the comments. Everyone is hilarious. Everyone is so funny. And I just love all the girlies once again.
Men like to use the fact that lesbians have a higher divorce rate to pretend that means women have a problem. And that just means no, women leave when a relationship gets toxic. Let's go both find happiness. Men can't get over a relationship ever. They will stay in a toxic relationship until the day they die, and they will just abuse the out of their partner. And if you leave, you're the problem because you should have stayed here and took my abuse. I don't care how mean I am to you. I'm too emotionally immature to ever find a new partner. You're stuck with me and I will treat you like shit. That's why men don't leave their marriages. Okay, it has nothing to do with them being better. Okay, so shut up.
Most of the women in my comments don't actually believe that misandry exists. So here we go. The definition for misandry is hating men, as seen in the Oxford Dictionary, which is the most accurate one as of 2022. I think Emma Watson said it the best right here in this video, and I'm going to play it for you.
And the more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating.
Then you guys say that misandry isn't real, but then there's posts like this.
It was the best feeling ever.
And that post says literally that she ruined a man's life, and it was the best day of her life, by the way. Even this, the millions of posts about men being trash.
Men are trash.
Or ones like this. Posts like this that are posted as jokes, but it's making fun of a man's height or a man that is balding. Of course, the queen of misandry, I think we all know who that is. Who literally fights misogyny with misandry and thinks that she's winning some grand old prize. Or even this one about deleting all men.
Well, this woman says, I'm pregnant, having a scan soon to find out if it's a girl, or I'm unaliving it. Hashtag delete all men.
With that being said, I hope by now you guys can see that misandry is actually a real thing. There is a whole generation of women out there that absolutely hate men, and you see it playing out here today on social media. Okay, bye.
But I was struggling to bring my TV, fit it into my car. It was in a big box. It's a 55-inch. It could barely fit into this car. I'm sitting out here struggling to get this in my car. Men are walking back and forth. No one is trying to help me.
You see, there's a reason for that. Decades ago, you wouldn't have needed help. The men would have done it for you. The thing is, the world has changed. Women have changed. Now, see, something I tend to do a lot. I tend to imagine, what if I was a man? What would I be doing today? Would I help women? Truthfully, when I think about it, no, absolutely not. Even if my instinct as a man is leaning toward chivalry, I'm not going to help. There's a number of reasons for that. A lot of times, when men are doing nothing wrong, they end up on the internet because the wind blew something into their eye and they might have winked and someone filmed it, and then you end up on TikTok as some kind of perv because you were winking at a woman. And what if she was 17 years old and you helped her? And then you end up on the internet as some kind of creep pursuing young girls. It's just too dangerous. There are cameras out here. People are filming things with duplicitous intent. You don't know when you're going to be the next viral sensation. You don't know when you're the next guy getting your life ruined. You don't know when a woman is going to lash out at you because you might be helping her and she takes offense in that. If I was a man, I would not deal with this. Why would any man in his right mind help a modern woman? They're strong, they're aggressive, they call themselves equal, they say they can do anything that a man can do. Why do you need a man's help? Just do it. Get your girls. Women want men to be old-fashioned, but women don't want to be old-fashioned. They just want the best parts of what men can offer without giving the best parts of themselves.
It took an older man to come and see me struggling. He came out and helped me take the TV out of the box. They don't make real men anymore. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not all men, because there are good men out there, but it's such a rare thing. It took an older man to do that.
Of course it took a 70 or 80-year-old man, because he's not on social media. He doesn't see what's going on out here. He's from a different generation where women were actually beautiful. And he still believes that women are beautiful. I used to believe women were beautiful, but not anymore. Because I'm here on social media. I see what's happening on the streets. I see what's happening to men when they try to be chivalrous and kind. Sometimes it's appreciated. Oftentimes it's not. So a man has to ask himself in that moment, which risk does he want to take? Will this be a good outcome, or will this be a negative outcome?
Okay, so this is just for conversation. This came right across the desk, and I'm like, all right, I have to sit up there and do a video, but not just a video. I'm just going to make a nice little compilation. I'm going to have the women out there that are the strongest advocates and supporters, and then I'm going to have at least 2 other women on the other side, because realistically, as it seems, that's how it feels, in a sense. That's how it seems, right? So in the comments, these are just a few of the great many. I didn't feel like trying to record every single comment directly there. A lot of them were unhinged and all this other type of stuff, as you can clearly see by one of the comments in one of the videos where a woman said that she was going to get a sonogram, whatever, to see what the sex of the child was, and if it just so happened to be a boy, you heard what it is that she said that she was going to do, right? So these comments here, one person said, men are the predators of women. They have given us so many reasons to fear and hate them time and time again. Another person said, I found my people. Another person said, hating men is like hating racists, justified by their horrendous behavior and threat to society. Another person said, men ruined everything. I love rage baiting them. I love telling them off. I love being mean to them. I don't care. I hate men. I am a misandrist. Another person said, men are pitchforks, rooted in their root chakra, never rising above their incarnate self. I wouldn't corrupt my energy with any of them. Another person said, I'm married and I feel this way. Men have ruined this world. Another person said the same. I can't stand the patriarchy that they make us live in. This is my thing. How does this specifically work, right? So men are everything bad and evil, right? But yet you're on a cell phone. Those are created by men. You're using electricity. You're using water. You have shelter, such as an apartment, a loft, a home. You're driving in a car. You need gas directly for that car. You need a battery for that. Like there's a variety of things that I can list that men created that these women every single day use. So in my mind, I'm like, well, if you hate men, then you should hate 100% everything about them, including the things that they contribute directly to society. But people are, again, going to cherry pick, and they're going to do what it is that they want to sit up there and do. So they're not going to hate men totally. They'll hate men 99.9%. But then, all of those inventions, all of those amenities, all of the other things that men have built and established, oh no, they're not going to hate that. They're going to make sure to live. They're going to make sure to have the niceties. They're going to make sure to do this and that and everything else. I'm like, that's a little bit weird. And how is it supposed to work? Like, let's say if there's a woman out here drunk driving, and I've covered videos and stories, and I got videos and stories directly in the background, somewhere on the hard drive. Let's say that there's a woman drunk driving and she veers directly off the road. And it just so happens to, be off the side of a bridge or whatnot or whatever. How is that supposed to work? Does that mean that we are supposed to wait? Like, let's say it's male firefighters and EMS workers. Are we supposed to wait for a female group, an all-female group, to just come directly through and help her out? To stop dangling, directly off the side of the bridge? Like, how is that realistically supposed to work? What if a woman's house is on fire because of, electrical work, lightning, whatnot, or whatever? Are we supposed to wait for a female, rescuers to come save her? What if there's a flash flood directly in her town, state, and city that's sweeping everything away, and she is in her home as it is moving through the water? Are we supposed to wait for an all-female helicopter team to come directly through and just save her life? Like, there's a multitude of instances that I can list. And I'm just trying to figure out, I know the fact that there are tons of men in a lot of these areas, especially when it deals with rescue, when it deals with treatment, when it deals with surgery and all of these things. How deep are you going to go with this? If your life needs saving, and you hate men, you're a misandrist, as they call it or whatnot, doesn't that mean that you should always turn down the help of any male physician? Like, you should never want a male surgeon if it's your heart, if it's your brain, internal organs, whatever it is. And especially if, like, let's say if you need blood donation, you should always turn down male blood, right? Because that would corrupt your energy, as one of the women basically stated. You wouldn't want that within you, right? Because you believe that every single male out here is criminal minded, is a villain, that has done the most abhorrent things directly to women, even if They are, not even near women at all. So it's like, how deep, I wonder, are these people willing to go? Because like one woman stated, she was like, I'm married and feel this way. How could, like, that's the thing that's baffling to me. So what I'm understanding, right, is that the woman said that she's married and she feels that way. So instead of you deciding to be a lesbian and be with somebody that you feel is safer, you decided to you took the lazy route and decided to be with a guy because you know that a guy would be able to actually give you more in a relationship. He would be able to give you those provisions, those protections, all of those things. But yet you still hate men. And you still decided to accept and get married. Like, this is what I talk about when people's logic does not make sense. When you sit there and you think, it doesn't make sense. It 100% doesn't make sense. And the one thing I would really wish that whoever that guy is, that he would be able to see that his fiance, wife, whatnot, whatever, really feels this way about him and just get a divorce. Because there's no reason for you to be there. Like, a lot of women would sit up there and say that you shouldn't be with a guy that means harm to you. That woman literally means harm, realistically. If she feels the way of hating men the same way that a lot of these other women feel, there's no reason for a guy to be there. Sooner or later, something's going to sit up there and happen by way of her. Realistically. Something will happen. And like I said, they have stories just like this online. True crime or whatnot or whatever, where you got women out here taking out their husbands, taking out their boyfriends, setting them up, backdooring them. So it's not like these things don't exist. It's like not like these things have never happened. These things do happen, right? But again, like I said before, I'm just trying to figure out, for conversation's sake, how far are people willing to take this? Because one of the things that I've told people before is like, okay, well, if an abundance of women feel this way, right? Let's take the same generalization like these women are doing. All women feel this way, right? If that is the case, women have some of the most money directly out there if they were actually to pool together their resources and all of those things. There's a lot of areas where cities or towns or whatnot, whatever, can be created. And my main thing is, why wouldn't women decide, like, okay, let's really, instead of just speaking, let's actually take action and show these men what we are about, right? Why not sit up there and pull your money together and find, a nice area of land, let's say like Texas, right? That's nice area. Most of it is desert, but again, we have the abilities here with some of the technology to build cities and towns, even in the most barren of places, right? So why not build a city and a town and have just nothing but women there? Female workers, female doctors, female firefighters, female electrician, women that work construction, everything, every facet of the jobs that men work, have women do it, including the sewage, including the garbage. I feel as though that would be a great utopia for a lot of women, in a sense. A utopia, amongst the desolate thorns, right, that they want to say that men are, amongst the patriarchy and all of that type of stuff. Because if people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they got something similar to that in Africa, where there's an area where there's only little girls and women. It's almost like a mini Themyscira, and that's, they made sure to separate themselves from the war-torn areas and all of these things, because of all of the things that have taken place, right, by way of men, just like these women have stated. So I would think that they would take note by what it is that some women in real life, in this reality, who exist in 2025, have actually done. But it seems as though that a lot of these women, no matter how much they say that they hate men, they don't seem to go that far. You don't even see women who are lesbians go that far. So again, I'm just trying to figure out how real this actually is. Like, are people just saying this for the internet or whatever it is? Like I said, you had the one girl up there talking about, oh, yo, the girlies, we were just getting together and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, that's cool, but I'm like, shouldn't you be getting together to, get a network together to pour money and build a whole separate system? Because like I said, take note from black people literally did this, right? Shouldn't you build a whole separate town state system away from men? And then if you are that much fearful of men, then you got women that are in the military. So you could also make sure to have military trained women living there. And those militarily trained women can train other women on self-defense and all these other types of things. So therefore you have at least some type of protection. So you don't have to live in 100% fear that, all that's going to happen is that you men are going to come directly in here. You're going to do X, Y, and Z and da, da, da. You at least have some type of training to defend yourself, But again, I don't know. I don't know what to, tell people. I just know that a lot of these thought processes are pretty dangerous, especially when you have the woman saying that if she found out that she was going to have a boy, then what was going to happen. Like I said, that's crazy. That is 100% crazy. And I'm just trying to figure out, did she get pregnant by way of a sperm donor? Like, how specifically did this woman even get pregnant to begin with? And again, like I said before, if you are a woman that hates men, you should not want any type of framework of DNA of a man to be able to impregnate you, to be around you, anything like that. So again, it's a little bit confusing to me when people sit up there and say, that they hate men, but they still want to be able to have kids. You should be trying to figure out a way to pair two eggs together to do that. You should be going to the extent of what was the whole thing that a lot of women were cheering about 3 to 4 or whatever years ago, where they were like, oh, scientists found out a way to sit up there and use your own stem cells to sit up there and allow a woman to sit up there and get pregnant and da 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 da. And you have women online cheering this and all this stuff. But I'm like, so where are all these women doing this? Like, the same way that women go out of their way to spend 50 or 100K directly on their bodies, I would expect all of these women that hate men to pool their money together so that every single woman out here can decide to do this exact same thing. But that's not something that I saw happening. So again, I'm just trying to figure out, how serious is this? Like, is this like a grifting type of thing so that these women's platforms can grow and they can just get money by, grifting in this area because they know that it's very easy to get women by putting something, emotional or emotionally jarring to get them ensnared and just say, all the things that they want to hear. Because I've seen this before. But for whatever reason, a lot of women can't see it because the whole logic when it deals with stuff is thrown directly out the window when emotions are attached to something. When it's something that they feel so, I guess you could say, visceral about. And those individuals can literally ensnare them and just Harry Potter all types of things and get rich directly off of them. Mind you, the same people that are delivering the content will be living a completely opposite life. Just like how you have a lot of feminists that will preach that type of thing, where you had female artists. You had a Beyonce, you had a Nicki Minaj, you had a Meg Thee Stallion, you had a Cardi B. You have a lot of these women out here who are artists that will preach a certain type of thing, like, oh yeah, girl power, we don't need men, we can do it by ourselves, we're independent, we're boss girls, da da da. But then they end up getting married, having kids, white picket fence. They got the provisions, they got the protection, they got everything, while the women that they are preaching to have nothing. And I liken this to the whole thing of, at one point in time, black people had the land and white people had the Bible. Look now, white people have the land and black people have the Bible. Somebody messed up. And that's how I'm looking at this whole situation. Like I said, I'm not going to state that people are wrong, because everybody is free to have their own belief. I look at it as a religion. This is your own belief. The only difference is it's not personal. You want everybody else to know that you believe this so that you can pull in other people into your religion, right? Even though your whole thing with religion is supposed to be a personal belief, right? It's a personal type of agreement or conversation that you have directly with whoever it is that you worship or believe directly in. But some people don't believe in doing that personally. They want everybody to know who it is that they believe in, right? So that they can have a conversation, so that they can also draw other people to that side, because everybody who believes in something believes that their God, their religion, is the right one and the only one. That's the way it works. If it wasn't, then we wouldn't have a lot of these wars. We wouldn't have a lot of these conversations, because people would respect somebody else's personal belief. But again, nobody's belief is personal, right? Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.